Short notice, guys. Calvin, you want to start us off?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is for Jerry and obviously Stephen. Why did you decide to trade Micah Parsons?
Well, without being too broad, obviously, we did think it was in the best interest of our organization, not only the future, but right now, this season as well. We've gained a Pro Bowl player. We've gained a Pro Bowl player in an area that we had big concerns in on the inside of our defense. Let me go beyond your question. First of all, I want to tell you that I really like Micah. I appreciate the 4 years that we've had him here, and he's a great player. And so we are very appreciative of the fact that he's a great player. There's no question that I could have signed him in April. And so we all know that to have agreements, all parties have to agree. But this was by design. I did make Micah an offer. It wasn't acceptable, and I honor the fact that it wasn't done in the way that he wanted to do it through an agent. So he was made an offer. There's not an ounce of vindictiveness. There's no bad feelings on my part about the fact that we didn't come together on an agreement. The facts are, and we'll cover it, I'm sure, with many of your questions, but the facts are specifically we need to stop the run. And we haven't been able to stop the run at key times for several years. And when you have the kind of extraordinary pass rush that Michael had, then the way to mitigate that pass rush is to run at you. If the pass rush doesn't get you ahead pretty big time and you're playing even or behind, then you've really got a problem in stopping the run. And so we have felt as we embark on changing things. We have a coach that we're mighty proud of in Brian, and we're excited about the changes that we're making, not only in the coaching staff, but in the team. I think out of our 60 players that we would count as the actives and a percent of the practice squad, over 1/3 of those players are new. And so we are doing what I've said many times, that if you are the one that owns, and when you look in the mirror, you've got to change. And so that this was a very deliberate, as it played out, reflection on a key player that could bring us a lot of consideration now in the player that we got that can help us stop the run, and a lot of consideration in the future, a lot of capital that is required to build a team. It takes many players to be tried to play in the NFL. It takes 11 on the field at the same time. It takes a minimum of 30 or 40 at minimum to have both defense and offense, not including players that are involved in our special teams. So it takes more than one. And so you do have to allocate your resources, whether it be draft picks or whether it be finances. You have to allocate those resources. There was no question in our mind that Michael could bring us a lot of resources on a trade. That has been on my mind since we hired Brian. And so there was no question. As it turns out, all the publicity about the not having a contract, certainly you did your part in making sure that it was known that he was potentially available, and I appreciate that very much. And I say that a little tongue-in-cheek. I'm not really as serious about it. But I will say this, that it was important that we did get, if we could get it, the kind of interest that we got in making a trade for Mike. He was an asset that we got 4 great years out of. But when you are talking about making a contract the kind that he got and for the future, that's quite a commitment. And none of that counts about what he did those first 4 years. It all goes against what he can do for you in the future, the length of that contract and maybe more. Well, then you've got to really weigh how many players. And I'm just going to give you this. Not only do we immediately get a player, but those draft picks could get us, I'm talking top Pro Bowl type players, could. Not necessarily, you're going to be quick to say, you won't necessarily get those players. You got to draft them or acquire them. But they could get us as few as 3 or as many as 5 outstanding players. Now, not only do they contribute in a game that needs a lot of players on the field, not to be elementary, but they also give you better odds that they're going to be a high percentage of those are going to be available, just from the standpoint of attrition or from the standpoint of just sheer limit on how far one player can go. Very few players are Dion playing 100 plays a game out there at the time. So this trade was not just thought about today. This trade has been going on in our minds and our strategies and being talked about. It's been going on all spring. It culminated today, and it came quick, but that's the way things go. It does happen fast when it happens. But you've laid a lot of water. I mean, you've laid a lot of things out there on the water to make it happen. I want to be sure that our fans understand, I think a lot of Micah. And I wish him so much success. I don't want him to have success when they play the Cowboys as much as I do want him to have overall success. But Micah Parsons did an outstanding job for us for 4 years. And a little bit of the way Herschel Walker may have had his greatest contribution to the Cowboys, what he brought to us when he left could be a tremendous thing for our fans and the success of this team. Kenny Clark. We really knew beginning this spring that if we could pick up a top interior defensive lineman just to offset not having a pass rusher, even though it's Micah, but where we're strong is in our pass rushing depth. And we knew if we could get an interior lineman that was at least something that would improve us right there on a top interior lineman. He comes in strong for us, and he comes in accomplished for us. And so we're glad to have him. It was a prerequisite. We went down the teams, and we only picked teams that had room on their cap that could pay Micah, and we only picked teams that had top tackles, interior tackles, that we wanted to have any dialogue with at all about a trade. That was the criteria of trading. Top existing tackle that could come in here and play for us right now, this year, and offset the fact, to whatever degree, more or less, that we don't have that excellence that Michael Parsons has there, but we do have the depth to come in here and do that. And then if we could get the picks that we ultimately getting, and we did have several teams that we might have had an opportunity to do something with. We did have that. And so this was no instantaneous happening this afternoon over about a 5-minute period. The other thing that I would like to say is I firmly made a commitment to Michael this spring Micah, and paid him, and to pay him. At that time, I was battling and knew that the other alternative probably was. I had no idea of what we might be able to get. But I knew that it was very likely to be several players that we could use those resources for all the way, draft picks as well as cap space. And so that was on our mind. The minute that we saw that we were quite possibly were going to have an issue about whether or not we could do a contract or not, that gave us time, that gave us imagineering. That coupled with bringing in a new coach and bringing in a new staff, we felt it fit for us to have more players, more excellent players, if we do a good job of acquiring those players, plus have a team this year that would give us a better chance, dare I say that? But absolutely, it's not a zero that we're dealing with as far as how much better that we were trying to be, even not having Micah. I've got several other things that I could answer a question with, but I'll stop and just let you ask questions.
The only other thing, you did an amazing job of covering it extensively, but because we have thought about this a lot. But the other thing came into play big was between Coach Schottenheimer and Coach Eberflus, and talking about the defense and obviously getting a player like Kenny Clark, is we also feel like in addition to the depth is you can scheme pressure as well. And I think Coach Eberflus has been really good at that in terms of using scheme to get pressure on the quarterback. But what's tough to scheme is to stop the run.
The other thing that I want to say is we not only gives us 4 first-round picks over the next 2 years, we not only do that, nothing says we can't use some of those picks right now to go get somebody right now. Don't rule that out.
What do you say to your fan base that looks at this and says they're rebuilding right now?
Well, again, we've certainly got a new coaching staff, and a third of all the players are new. And so obviously there is freshness. We'll use the word new on that basis. But we have the highest paid player in the NFL at quarterback. And we made that commitment last year, and we're proud we made it. It had everything to do with this decision. Mm-hmm. Everything. It is give us every opportunity with Dak Prescott and Lamb and the base that we've got to win now. And so all you need to do, this would, I'm not so sure this would have been results had we not had Dak. But the fact that we have Dak, we need to stop the run. Yeah. We really do. We need to get the ball back.
Well, that's why it was so important when you say that, is Kenny Clark was a big part of this. And that was a part of winning right now. And we feel like when you look at, the frustration is we hadn't been able to win the big game in the playoffs, and we think it is a direct connection to not being able to stop the run. And we think Kenny Clark's going to be a big piece to that. And we felt like because of our depth on the edge, as well as the ability to be able to scheme pressure, that we could make up for Micah, because obviously he's elite at rushing the passer, that we could make up for that. And then in addition to it, as Jerry said so well, is we do now have 2 ones in each draft over the next 2 years, and nothing says we can't use one of those to improve the team this year, which we wouldn't rule out this year.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. Can you, from a timeline standpoint, when did you start negotiating with Green Bay, and when did you give them permission to talk to Mugaleta about a contract?
Yeah, we're not. I'm not going to get into time frames at all, but we didn't have a deal until this afternoon. I'll tell you, I can say that much. The rest of it, it'd be hard to not characterize the dialogue to pick this call, this time, this time. We talked to Green Bay more than once, more than twice, several times. And that's been, frankly, over the last several days. But it came to a head as far as acting on it. Remember, there were three people that had to, or three people, there were three entities. First of all, Micah had to have a contract with them that was satisfactory. They had to agree to the contract, and then we had to agree to the trade. And so it'd be real inaccurate to just, on our part, say what our time frame was without knowing theirs. But I will say that certainly it was probably still up in the air this morning when they went to practice. Kenny practiced out there with them today, and so you might say that it was technically up in the air this morning. Make no mistake about it, what wasn't up in the air was our consideration as a complete organization, that if we could get this done with our terms, we would make the trade. And that was a complete unanimity in the decision making.
When did you give them permission to negotiate, though?
I'm not. I don't know that I want to.
Okay. According to them, they came to you and asked about doing a deal or trying to get something done, and you said play on the fifth year.
Excuse me.
Did you tell them to play on the fifth year, or if you want to stay here?
Who is they and we?
Parsons and Mugaleta. Did you tell them to play on the fifth year?
That they wanted to play on the fifth year?
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. They came to you as recently as this week or recently and tried to jumpstart negotiations.
Yeah,
you
we
said
had
play
some,
on the fifth year.
We had some dialogue. I'm not going to get into specifics because I don't think that characterizes it.
Okay.
But it was not in any way out of the order or anything like that. But basically, I think I've read where they said that I replied, we're playing under the contract as it exists right now. Get ready to play Philadelphia. Correct.
Okay.
That was correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Todd.
Jerry, Todd Archer with ESPN. If you were willing to guarantee the highest amount of money for a non-quarterback back in March, but you're also open to possibly making a trade, why not do more or look at it more before the draft, where you would be able to gather those, at least a player or picks then? Why wait until now?
I'm sorry. I think your question is
Why not
a question about my volition or about what I'm thinking. Is that correct?
I'm just wondering why this wasn't something that could have been done before the draft, to maybe you would have been able to gather draft picks that you could have used in April to help the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'll speculate with you because I haven't gone that deep into my thinking about why I didn't do it and when I should have done it and all that. Really, I'm not, and I'm not trying to be cute, okay? But when I offered Micah the contract that I offered him back in April, he flew in from out of the country, wanted to come right in. I said, no, get you a night's sleep and come on in the next day. Get you the next day. He wanted to come right in. When I did that, we offered him a contract to come play for the Dallas Cowboys, and it was a good one, okay? Now, it was more guaranteed than what I've been reported that was here now. But my point is, without getting into detail, that was a very genuine negotiation. And I changed the amounts. And then we left, and then he called back and talked to Stephen. Stephen negotiated amounts. We changed those amounts that he called back from. And then, of course, the rest is history. When the time came to say, let's go, then he said, well, let's start the negotiation. And again, nothing in the world am I criticizing Micah about at all. That was every bit his right. And Micah's never been anything but so pleasant for me to be around. I want to be real clear about it. Not that it implies that it's not. Things are good here. Things are good here. We have just decided that it was in the best interest of our team to take the consideration that we have. We appreciate his 4 years, but we can take that consideration and we can win in our minds more than had we gone the other route and signed him. That's not a negative on Micah. That's just unique to our circumstances.
Were there any trade discussions prior to the draft regarding Micah?
Trade discussions with who?
With other teams regarding
No,
Micah?
no,
No.
So
no.
could you have done something then?
We had them. We had them, but we didn't have them with anybody else.
The draft's in April, by the way, when we were talking to Micah personally.
Right, it was at the end of the month. This was at the beginning of the
I
month.
got you. But
Oh, you mean a day earlier or what? Shit, come on, man. Come on. No, I'm not frustrated with that.
John Machota with The Athletic. Jerry, this is just making a move like this isn't something that you normally do. You don't usually move away from star players in their prime. Why is this different right now?
As a matter of fact, I've been criticized for staying with players too long, the ones that have had, if you will, a relationship, a working together relationship. I had that kind of relationship with Micah. Like I said, I sat with him at a couple of one Super Bowl for sure, and I'm out here and knew his family. Had a hour and a half visit